Theo shows Summer his true colors in a chilling confrontation. Getting right in her face, he menacingly reveals that Billy begged him to save him, leaving Summer shaken and shocked. Viewers will remember that horrifying night. Theo was responsible for Billy's death during the explosive Corrydale episode, when he deliberately rebuckled Billy's seatbelt, trapping him in the van and sealing his fate. The cruel revelation leaves Summer devastated, and she later pours her heart out to George in the shop, recounting every word Theo said. Furious at what he hears, George wastes no time in confronting Theo himself, issuing a stark warning. Making it clear he's reached his limit, George tells Theo that if he goes anywhere near Todd or Summer again, he won't be responsible for what happens next. But Theo's behavior only becomes more erratic. In a worrying turn, he's later seen crawling out of his van in a terrible state, raising alarm bells for those around him. When Miles approaches, he's horrified by what he finds, suggesting Theo may be spiraling further than anyone realized. As Carl arrives on the scene, he overhears Theo desperately begging Miles to speak to his mom, hinting that he wants another chance to rebuild his fractured family. But rather than showing sympathy, Carl spots an opportunity, and it's clear he may use Theo's vulnerable state to his own advantage. Meanwhile, concern continues to grow for Todd, with Kit stepping in to reassure him that he'll do everything possible to keep Theo away. Still shaken, Todd makes a big decision of his own. At number 11, he reveals to George that he's planning to visit Eileen and Jason in Thailand, seemingly desperate to put as much distance between himself and Theo as possible. As Todd heads to bed, Theo is seen lurking outside, watching him through the bedroom window. It's a moment that confirms just how dangerous and unpredictable he's become and raises serious fears about what he might do next. With tensions rising across Weatherfield and Theo's grip on reality slipping, the threat he poses is only growing stronger. His manipulation of Summer, combined with the truth about Billy's death, could push those around him to the breaking point. And with a mystery death set to rock the street, suspicion is already falling in Theo's direction. Is he capable of going even further, or could his actions finally catch up with him? As the drama unfolds, one question hangs in the air. Is Theo about to destroy someone else's life, or will his own story come to a shocking and possibly fatal end? In the dim, rain-slicked streets of Weatherfield, trouble never stayed buried for long, and this week, it rises again in a way that leaves Summer Spellman shaken to her core and Billy Mayhew fighting for more than just his reputation. It begins with Theo Silverton. Theo has always had a way of slipping into people's lives quietly, like a shadow that only becomes noticeable once the light starts to fade. To some, he is charming, even misunderstood. To others, there's something unsettling about how easily he adapts, how quickly he turns warmth into cold calculation when things don't go his way. And this time, Billy Mayhew is in his crosshairs. It starts small. A misunderstanding at first, an overheard conversation, a twisted interpretation of concern, and a moment taken entirely out of context. Billy, ever the community-minded priest, has been trying to help Theo navigate a difficult personal situation. But in Theo's version of events, help has become interference, judgment, control. By the time Summer Spellman gets involved, the narrative has already begun to shift in ways she doesn't fully understand. Summer is used to complicated adults. She's lived enough life for someone her age to know that truth is rarely clean. But what Theo tells her is not just complicated. It's explosive. He finds her outside the cafe one evening when the street is quieter and the world feels almost normal again. His voice is calm, almost gentle, the kind of tone that makes people lean in instead of step back. "Summer," he says, like he's been waiting for her specifically. "There's something you need to know about Billy." At first, it sounds like concern. That's what makes it dangerous. Theo explains that Billy has been obsessing over him, that the priest's involvement isn't about care at all. It's about control, guilt, and something far more troubling beneath the surface. He carefully selects his words, each one shaped like a small blade, designed not to cut immediately, but to leave doubt behind. Summer listens, unsure. Billy has been kind to her, supportive even when her life has spiraled. But Theo is persuasive. He knows how to place just enough truth beside just enough distortion that the line between them begins to blur. Then comes the sick claim. Theo lowers his voice, leaning closer as if sharing something too dangerous to say aloud. Billy's not well, Summer. Not just emotionally. Physically, too. He's hiding it. I've seen the signs. The dizziness, the moments where he can't finish sentences properly. He's not telling anyone how bad it is. Summer frowns. What are you saying? The next day, Summer confronts Billy. It's not aggressive at first. It's careful, hesitant. She asks if he's been feeling okay. If he's been to the doctor recently. Billy, caught off guard, laughs it off. I'm fine, Summer. Just a bit tired, that's all. But that only deepens her concern. Because Theo's words are already sitting in her mind like a diagnosis, waiting for confirmation. When she presses further, Billy becomes defensive. Not because he has anything to hide, but because he senses the shift, something he can't quite see, but can feel slipping through his fingers. Within hours, the situation escalates. Summer tells a friend. The friend tells another. Questions begin circulating quietly around the street, subtle at first, then sharper. Why does Billy look so pale lately? Has anyone else noticed him stumbling slightly on the steps outside the church? Is he overworking himself? Billy, meanwhile, remains unaware that a quiet narrative is forming around him, one he never agreed to. And Theo? He stays just on the edge of it all. Present enough to be credible, absent enough to deny responsibility. But the most dangerous moment comes when Summer, driven by fear and confusion, brings it up directly with Billy again, this time suggesting he seek urgent medical attention. That's when Billy finally realizes something is wrong. Not with his health. With perception. He demands to know where this is coming from. Summer hesitates, then admits it. Theo Silverton. The name lands heavily in the room. For a moment, everything stops. Because Billy understands now that this isn't concern, it's construction. A story built around him, piece by piece, until even those closest to him start to doubt what they know. And worse, it's a story that could push him towards something irreversible if it continues unchecked. Misdiagnosis. Panic. Stress. Isolation. The very things Theo has quietly seeded could spiral far beyond gossip. They could destroy Billy's stability, his relationships, even his sense of self. As Billy steps outside into the cold, weather-filled air, he realizes the true danger isn't just what Theo said. It's what people are starting to believe. And somewhere nearby, Theo watches. Not loudly, not obviously, but with the calm satisfaction of someone who knows that sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't force. It's doubt. And once doubt takes hold in Weatherfield, it rarely lets go without a fight. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Crown ST.